Hey guys, thanks for joining me again, and today we'll be talking about the Arylic B50 SC amplifier. So this amplifier just came out at a lower price point than the original B50. It's a slightly stripped down version of that amplifier. The three main features that are missing on this unit is that on the circuit board, you don't have the chip for the Bluetooth transmit, you don't have HDMI ARC on this unit, nor do you have a phono preamp. Now, I was doing a little bit of research, looking at a few other reviews to get some information as to what people were complaining about or had issues with, and I found quite a few reviews that had bad information. So I want to let you know what I found by experimenting with this unit. One reviewer had noted that he's giving this unit a do not buy or a non-recommendation because it turns out it does not have a streamer. Now, this unit isn't marketed as a streamer, so I think it's completely unfair to make that remark. This is a Bluetooth amplifier. If you would like a streamer, Arylic has other units that do include the streamer. This one connects via Bluetooth, and you also have external inputs. Let's take a look at those ins now. We have our speaker outs. We have our pair of RCA ins for analog in, a subwoofer out, optical in, USB-A for a USB stick, and USB-C to connect this unit to your computer to use that as an audio interface or a DAC. And finally, the Bluetooth receive antenna. So this unit only receives Bluetooth from your phone, computer, laptop, or tablet, but it will not shoot it over to a pair of earbuds or wireless headphones like the standard B50 unit does, which I find to be a standout feature. I wish they would have kept that in this unit, but as it is, they omitted it. And although this unit does not have a streamer, I'll tell you right now that the Bluetooth chip that's in this unit is awesome. It works great. I measured it from my stereo all the way to my front yard with a measuring tape. I got over 70 feet of distance and not one jump. I can still hear the system going. Perfectly great sound, and I can still skip back and forth on my phone with no issue. So awesome range on the Bluetooth. As for the sound quality of that Bluetooth, it was remarkably nice, very pleasant to listen to, nothing overbearing. Although when I did connect my streamer directly to the amp via optical, the sound quality was much improved. Another reviewer took a look at these binding posts and said that 12 gauge wire would not fit. Let's see if that's true. Here is the wire we're going to test out. This is 14 gauge stranded from Amazon Basics. I use this wire for my outdoor patio and for my bathroom speakers, which of course don't need critical listening high-end wire. We'll also test out this Southwire 12 gauge that I had left over from a solar panel install. First we have the Amazon Basics 14 gauge 64 strand 99.9% oxygen free copper wire. Let's see if this fits. We'll give the wire some twists to the right to make it nice and tight. And I do suggest that we completely remove these retaining nuts to make the wire come in a lot smoother. Just wiggle a little bit, got that one in, and we'll go in for the black, and we can tighten them down. This one looks good, it's nice and tight. And now we're on to our 12 gauge 7 strand. This cable is quite a bit more rigid. So I'll spin it a little bit just to get it in. There it is. The other side. And we can go ahead and cover them up and clamp them down. These fit in just fine as well. No problem with 12 gauge. We'll try some spades as well. No problem with the standard side spade. And my favorite connector, my preferred, is the banana plug. Holds it just right, nice and tight, no slop. So as you can see, not a problem. The amp chip in this unit is the Texas Instrument 3116. So when in doubt about power supplies, always look up the datasheet online. I saw a video where a reviewer plugged in a 48 volt power supply to the B50 and fried that amplifier. The max voltage that this chip likes to have is 24 volt with 7.5 amps. So don't get anything over about 6 amps on a 24 volt power supply. It simply can't handle it like the 3255 chip. Yet another reviewer had an issue with the software on the phone app. On that app, there's a crossover settings, and his argument was that there was no bass management, that the crossover only controlled the sub out as opposed to allowing a high pass filter. Let's test that out. So as you can see, it works perfectly fine. As we decrease the bass output through the sub, my main speakers do lose bass. One thing I would have loved to have seen in that app, or maybe it can be updated later, is a gain setting for the sub out. That way every time I want to adjust the volume on my amp, I don't have to reach under behind my sub. Also remember, when you're adjusting that crossover, if you bring down the crossover on your subwoofer too low, let's say you bring it down to 40, and you have the crossover on your amp set to 150, you're going to be missing frequencies from 40 to 150. So make sure that that EQ setting on that subwoofer is higher than the EQ setting you selected on the app. Yet another reviewer mentioned that this amplifier was designed for near field listening. I completely disagree with that. If that was the case, why would we have a remote control? And honestly, I did my listening from 10 to 12 feet. 30 watts per channel into 8 ohms is enough to give you a good amount of sound. My speakers are 93 dB sensitive, and I can get 105 dB peaks with this amplifier, no problems. Of course, it sounds much better at around 75 to 80. So now on to my opinion on the sound quality of this amplifier. I found the sound to be pretty decent. One issue that I do have with this amplifier is its inability to give you great bass. It just doesn't have enough capacitance to give you those really hard bass punches. The mids and highs were a little crunchy, and I initially contributed that to the DAC, but as I was testing the bass management crossover, I noticed that when I would switch on the crossover and let this amp handle frequencies over 100 Hz, the clarity on the mids and highs improved for sure. Before switching on the crossover and the app, the soundstage isn't awesome. It's right to the inner edge of my speakers. The depth is about maybe a foot, so just okay for its price point. We always have to keep that in consideration. However, after turning the crossover on, the soundstage deepens a little bit more. You get quite a bit more clarity in the vocals, and the highs a little bit shinier. It doesn't do anything to the width of the soundstage. And I will contribute that to the amp chip having to do less of the heavy lifting, as those lower notes make the amp work harder. And we're pawning off those sub 100 Hz over to the subwoofer. So that leads me to believe that the bottleneck is more so the amp rather than the DAC. That being said, when you add an SU1 to this unit, you do get more soundstage and clarity. Still nothing we can do about the bass. There is a bass boost switch, but it's kind of ridiculous. It's pretty intense. Another thing about the EQ, I have to tell you that I was very happy with its EQ. It performs much better than the EQ in the WIM Mini. When I adjust the EQs on this amplifier, I really don't get any loss of the soundstage. It stays intact. So this unit can definitely process that DSP EQ quite a bit better. So who is this amplifier for? This amplifier would be awesome for a spare bedroom, an office, an outdoor patio, or if you're living that Japanese minimalistic Marie Kondo lifestyle, then this would be a wonderful fit in your home. It isn't audiophile by any means, but it is a great sounding, fun amplifier with enough power for average listening. Definitely not a party amplifier either, but adding a subwoofer and that bass management crossover that's built in definitely helps there. If you're looking for something more multi-room, this would not be your best option. Arylic has streamers, I would get one of those, or the WIMs. That LinkPlay app is pretty awesome. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one.